All right, so it's currently February 8th, Sunday, February 8th, 2026. Bring up the Google date and time. So I just made a Facebook post that should show a lot to a lot of people with very little evidence, especially at this point, especially since I'm sitting at home. Right now, I have three felonies and one misdemeanor. I have two felonies are for threatening. One's for threatening my mom, allegedly. Allegedly. Uh, Another felony is for threatening my friend Tyler Roberts, allegedly. Another one is for resisting arrest just after I was assaulted in my house. So the only reason I left my house was because I was assaulted in my house on October 9th, 2025. And then long story short, this huge investigation was happening from December 19th, 2024 to now, actually, and it's February 8th, 2026, but I'm still dealing with it. Um, Sabotaged my life. Either way, I have a felony for resisting arrest October 9th, 2025, after I was assaulted in my house by what I believe to be law enforcement and as part of a sting, anti terrorism countermeasure, whatever. Um, was talking about it all year to everybody, like everybody. Um, so I just thought, well, I'll look at some receipts I had. I was just feeling a little bit, upset. Um, so I'm not friends with Andrew Snyder on Facebook here. And I know he lives across the street, 2211 Broadmoor, or he frequents there quite a bit. And somehow Patricia Combs is involved in that address as well. Um, I know I'm being recorded now by some kind of parabolic microphone by law enforcement. I'm not paranoid, obviously. I'm just talking about it pretty openly. But putting some things on here that I sent to him. Um, I just sent this not too long ago. I had spoken to Andrew Snyder sometime around, I believe it was September 8th or 9th or something like that. It might have been around that same week, September 8th or 9th of 2025. That was before I was arrested. Um, but anyways, I sent him some messages this year, 2026, January 28th. I sent him a message. Here it is. Sent him another message, January 29th. Um, January 29th, 12:23 a.m. I had a warrant put on me for unlawful use of 911. And that's not really what this message is about. But as you can see, let's look at this one of February 1st. The Most Precious Blood Parish. It's a church in town. I used to go there as a kid. Um, my mom and dad, sometimes my grandma. Mainly went to Queen of Angels Church, though. Queen of Angels Catholic School. Precious Blood's another Catholic school. I had some friends that went there growing up. Um, so today, which is the 8th, I don't know why it doesn't show on there, but that's why I went to the calendar. I put, please don't take this the wrong way, but you have the right to know. I sent an email to myself November 30th, 2024. It was just an email, just in case something happened. I didn't do anything wrong. I know to this very day I didn't do anything wrong. It's about 3:28 p.m. right now on February 8th, 2026. Anyways, so I sent him a message. It's kind of a little bold, but I told him the same thing I told him on October 25th of 2025. Someone tried to use you as a decoy. And then I put, I don't give in to peer pressure. I mean, that is what it is. It could mean a lot of different things. It's meant to be positive. It's meant to shed light on things that I didn't do wrong. And I'm saying this in the midst of losing my house, basically, because I've got 2 criminal conviction trials going on. And I also have 2 court hearings this week on Wednesday and Thursday, and I might be thrown in prison. So I sent him a link to a Facebook post I literally just put on there. I didn't want to put my address online because I just didn't want to, obviously confidential. Because a lot of my Facebook is public right now because of everything that's been going on. Not very many people believe me. In fact, I don't think anybody believes me in terms of what I'm trying to show. And as you can see there, it looks like it's a little bit blurry. I'm going to click on the Facebook link, but what I sent was a big Facebook post with 2 ammunition receipts from early, like January 2024. Okay. So, all right. So what I posted, and like I said, when I put on there to him, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I don't expect him to respond, and I know that it's likely that information could be funneled to the wrong people. But either way, I mean, he needs to know what happened because the proof is in the pudding. It's right there. I've lived in this neighborhood since December of 2022, maybe more like November of 2022. I've had no issues. And somebody he's in contact with, Patricia Combs, lied on a police report and said that I been some kind of public nuisance in this neighborhood for the last 3 years. I keep to myself. I stay inside. I don't violate the law. I actually had no criminal history prior to October 9th or October 10th, 2025, aside from a speeding ticket in 2012, I think. And for whatever reason, I found myself subject to a law enforcement investigation. So I put, this was my capability, January 25th of 2024. The reason I put that is because it's the latest receipt there, which I'll show in a minute. Yes, January of 2024. All you keyboard warriors can, STFU means shut the fuck up. Because this alone should prove that a federal investigation was not necessary as of December 19th, 2024. Yes, December 19th, 2024. The end of the year when I closed the year out making $90,000 and having $40,000 in the bank. I must have looked depressed to the investigators, but I thought so positively. I must have looked so intoxicated, high, negligent that I could have never been responsible enough to handle it all. I gotta fix a typo in there, but it says responsible, but responsible enough to handle it all. So that's when they pull out the neuroweapon at the data center, then attack me in my home on my private property. Use the big guns on the little guy. All right? Now, it might seem a little cryptic to people if they don't know what's going on, but um, I'm just trying to make video evidence after video evidence as things happen. But in 2024, as of the 25th, I purchased 1,000 rounds of 55 grain full metal jacket 5.56 rounds for my Smith & Wesson MP Sport 2. I bought that rifle December 31st of 2023. Was having a blast with it. Bought a bunch of rounds bulk, basically, because it's cheaper that way. Can't close this. Why it's not going back? It's not letting me go back. If I hit the back button here, it's going to minimize probably. Maybe not. All right. This receipt was January 5th of 2024. Notice I don't have the firearm receipts on there. I'll probably add that later. But as you can see, I had ordered a new mag. I had ordered 1,000 rounds of 9mm ammo. And I also ordered 50 rounds of, just ate some food, federal 9mm ammo. Now, they were hollow points. Federal brand hollow points. So, hollow points is what you would use for home defense for people who don't know anything about firearms. People say that hollow points are, people incorrectly label hollow points as cop killers, but they're not actually. It doesn't make any sense because hollow points flatten on impact and they're designed specifically not to penetrate. So, for instance, it would not make sense to call it that because, for instance, obviously police wear armor, and if police were wearing armor and they get hit by a hollow point, it's not going to penetrate the armor very well at all. Like I said, these hollow points are used for more of a home defense situation, right? Meaning somebody has breached the walls of your house to try to attack you. I'm a single man, so I decided to pick up a new hobby and took it very seriously, especially the safety. I don't want to end up going on forever, but so that's why, although I had the 1,000 rounds of 9mm full metal jacket ammo, training rounds, as of January 5th, 2024, I spent $30 on 50 rounds of 9mm hollow point because, if I ever had to defend my home, like from the inside, somebody attacking me, like breaking a window, jumping through to attack me, in the middle of my sleep, I'd be able to fire with a round that if it hit a person or anything else, it would flatten on impact and not leave the house, which is another safety countermeasure that I think may or may not have been misconstrued if there was any kind of parabolic recording or any kind of recording going on in my house at 22. Well, I don't want to say the address, just on my personal residence. That should be enough. My point is, this doesn't make any sense of what happened, and I'm not going to go into too much more detail, but hope I'm not going too far here. When I say I sent an email, shit, what did I call it? You can just search for the date. incident. There's a lot of things to say the word incident. Looking for November 30th. Potential neighborhood incident. Here we go. I don't know why it didn't come up when I typed in neighborhood. And incorrectly dated the top title there, the email, but the date put there and the date of the email obviously show. This is from my email address, a private one. So throughout the day, I can hear people talking outside depending on how quiet it is as voices travel across the yard. Early in the day, around 12ish, I heard a man from the house directly across my front yard say to someone else, that guy with the guns over there is fucked in the head. No one knows or should know that I'm a firearm owner except Wayne, backyard behind me. However, I don't believe he talks to the people in the house I'm referring to. It's possible that comment wasn't referring to me. I don't leave the house much except for work and the store. During the summer, I was off work between jobs as a result of something else, and several times when I went outside, I heard him say to his wife, "Fuck that guy over there." It is possible that it wasn't referring to me, but stuff like that kept happening. I've only spoken to him once, and it was a day where I caught him playing catch with his kid on my lawn without my permission, and the ball they were throwing occasionally would roll into the house and hit the siding. I was nice about it then, and overall we had a pleasant conversation about work-related matters. This would have been close to when I moved into the neighborhood a couple of years ago. When I had my internet installed by Frontier for the first time, it turns out Frontier dug up his yard and buried the Fios cable there despite me giving them my address here. No one ever said anything to me about it, and I only found out when he had ran it over with the lawnmower because Frontier didn't bury the line. The point where he ran it over happened last summer, and when Frontier came back out to rebury the line, I made sure they knew to bury it in my yard. I hadn't spoken with the neighbor at all about it, but there are instances where he doesn't say anything to me, and then just out of earshot, I keep getting passive-aggressive comments. It is possible that some of them are not directed at me, but what else am I to think when I'm the only one, or I'm the only other one outside and I hear something like that? It seems like these instances have increased since about last week or so, as 11/17 2024, maybe slightly before. As I said, I don't leave the house much unless I'm going to work in the morning or going to the store. I hear a lot of comments that somehow travel across the street, and I can sometimes hear decently audibly in my living room if I am right next to the TV. He keeps referring to some crackhead who lives over there. I don't know who he is referring to, but due to the circumstances and prior incidents, it seems very likely could be referring to me for some reason, but I don't know why. I figured if he had a problem, he would come up to my house and speak with me on the matter, as it is most likely a misunderstanding. He talks loud and boisterous when he is outside, and I have heard other comments such as that meth head over there, the guy with the guns who is fucked in the head, fuck that guy over there, when I am outside sometimes. And that kid over there doesn't have a job and lives with his dad. I own this house and live alone, and I may look young, but I'm 36 years old today. In fact, it's my birthday. I may move around quicker sometimes and can be talkative, but I suffer from ADHD. I also have Crohn's disease, which causes me to pass blood and have diarrhea daily. I also have a bad left knee from an injury early 2023. At first, I didn't care to find out if he was or if he has a problem or not, but I feel that this sort of behavior is dangerous, as if he is openly making these statements to his wife or his buddy on occasion. I feel like he may be spreading disparaging rumors about whoever he is talking about, hopefully not me, and that can be damaging. To be fair, I'm a little reclusive and keep to myself, and have never challenged him on anything I have heard him say, mainly because I can't verify who these comments are meant for, anyways, as they are never directly said to me. I don't want to go to his property given the circumstances, as I really don't have a problem with him. But given the circumstances, I feel like it would be too easy for him to make things seem a certain way in the event he just flat out doesn't like me and doesn't want to talk reason. I ultimately decided that if he has an issue, he can come and talk to me about it. Most interesting part is I generally don't talk to any of the neighbors except for Wayne and maybe David, from time to time, as I am not much of a people person, so I don't know how I could have possibly offended him, unless he is still upset about the internet line, which I have no control over. I have my house lights set to smart lights that can turn on and off based on scheduled times or remotely, and feel like he thinks there are others living here, but it is just me. Obviously, I said that because of the comment that I heard yelled across the yard about he's living with his dad. Comment. I don't know if that is somehow part of the issue. Anyways, I just don't like when someone who has an issue doesn't address and instead goes on to spread gossip, rumors about others rather than handling the issue directly. It makes me think that he may begin to spread other rumors over time simply because he doesn't like me, understand me. I am notating this by email so that I have a date timestamp. I have turned all internal Ring cameras on in my house in order to monitor my activity in case for some reason I am accused of doing something that I didn't do. After all, I spend most of my time inside my house and do have external cameras as well for my safety and protection. So I sent that November 30th of 2024. Now, somehow, long story short, there's been a huge debacle with law enforcement and me getting attacked by something in the house, and that all began December 19th of 2024. And that was practically a year, over a year since I purchased my firearms, and about a year from the point where I bought thousands of rounds of ammunition for the firearms I currently had as of January 2024. So my point is, if I was trying to do something, right, if I was dangerous or negligent or intoxicated or whatever the fuck, then why didn't I do anything the whole year of 2024? Because after all, I met Andrew July of 2023. That was the day he was playing catch on my lawn. And hadn't really spoken to him since. And occasionally would see him around the neighborhood. And then Dave, I believe his last name is Richards, Dave Richards, lives at 2219 Broadmoor, or it might potentially be 2298 Broadmoor. The sign outside of his house says 2219. On Google Maps Street View, it says 2298 Broadmoor. His son identified himself as a federal investigator and parked his RV on Dave's driveway, approached me about interstate drug trafficking, August 24th of 2024. 50-year-old gentleman, short gray hair, short guy, business casual. His wife came out after he said, and this is before I told him I was traveling, he said, so if you get high across state lines and you bring it back to Indiana, we'll find out about it. He said that to me. And didn't think much of it at the time, but considering the circumstances, that's what happened. So I was mindful of it. And I was traveling during that whole time. That federal investigator was there between August 24th of 2024 to about October, first week of October 2024. I made other videos about that and talked about it, sent texts to people, etc., etc. Same way I sent that email to myself as of November 30th, 2024. So my point is there's something going on between 2211 Broadmoor and 2219 Broadmoor. And I don't know why I was federally investigated literally a year after I purchased firearms and, was safely using them, obviously, and enjoyed that hobby as well as, I had a lot of things going for me. By the time it was December 19th, 2024, I had a lot of things going for me. I was very optimistic. Should have been very, very obvious to anybody who knew me. I was very busy. I was very optimistic. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. That's all I'm talking about. So yeah, it's February 8th, 2026. It's about 3:52 p.m.